One of the more interesting, or well, certainly one of the coins with a more interesting nickname, is the 1952 Scarface Franklin half. Now, not having, strictly speaking, anything to do with the classic 1983 Hollywood movie, but instead, on this coin, the obverse die suffered a number of rather prominent die cracks running across Franklin's cheek and lapel, giving the impression of a long scar across his cheek and jaw. As is so often the case with die cracks and similar varieties, the so-called scar may appear to a greater or lesser degree on the particular coin that you have, but the basic idea will remain the same as the one you see here. At the July 2016 Long Beach show, a coin like this, graded as PCGS MS64, was sold at auction for the sum of $646. And then we have, well, it's not a related variety exactly, but it is of a similar ilk all the same. What we see now before us is the 1959 half-dollar goiter variety, owing in this case to the fact that a die break took place, again on the obverse, leaving a rather distinctive diagonal gouge just below Franklin's chin and neck, giving the impression from a distance of, well, a goiter. Now, one of these variety coins was sold at auction during 2018, housed in a PCGS slab with the grade of MS65 with a coveted full bell lines designation added to that, which sold for $504. And then a relatively simple variety to be sure, but also one that might easily be missed if you are not really paying attention either. This is a repunched mintmark variety from the 1951 S Franklin half-dollar. On this coin, the S mintmark for the San Francisco Mint was repunched directly north of the initial placement. The result is an at times subtle variety, depending on the die state of the coin that you may come across, where you can still see the initial S towards the south of the primary mintmark. This is especially true just below the S and then slightly towards the north of the bottom serif as well. In terms of value, 2017 saw the auction of a PCGS graded coin at a grade of MS67 for $1,880. Let's look at a nice repunched mintmark variety that can be discovered on the 1949 S Franklin half. Now remember that the mintmark for this coin can be found not on the obverse, but rather on the reverse, just below the E in states. For this variety, the mintmark was punched in too far south, and the final placement was necessitated in order to correct this, leaving a clear indication of the initial striking directly towards the south of the S mintmark. Die state does in fact play an important part in this variety and how it displays, so remember to take a closer look at your 1949 S Franklins for this particular variety coin. In 2018, a PCGS graded coin like this, slabbed as MS64 plus full bell lines, was sold at auction for $204. A proof variety is up for display and discussion next, in the form of a double die obverse variety for the 1962 proof Franklin half-dollar. This coin is a rather interesting case of class 2 or distorted hub doubling. The effect of it can be seen or best identified as medium spread in the letters of Liberty, in particular the R, T, and Y, where most of the doubling takes the form of separation lines towards the top of the letters, closest to the rim of the coin. Some similar doubling is also to be found on the letters of We Trust, although this time towards the bottom of the letters, or again, closer to the rim of the coin. The best doubling, however, and most certainly the key identifying feature for this particular variety, is the number 2 of 1962. The top bend of the 2, as well as the very tip of the base of the number, is clearly doubled directly towards their right. In January of 2022, we saw the sale of a coin like this at auction, slabbed with an NGC label as proof 68 for a closing price of $312. From there, we move on to a staple variety for the series, and another one to be found in the ranks of the proof issues. This is the 1961 doubled die reverse Franklin $half coin. A gorgeous example of classic rotated hub doubling with a strong counterclockwise rotation on the second squeezing of the hub. The doubling is present on most of the elements closest to the rim of the coin, including the right side of the eagle, right next to the Liberty Bell. The letters of $half display nice doubling on the letters of half in particular being an especially good example of this. Similarly so then also for the letters of United, to the point where the U and the N and I as well are doubled extremely aggressively. However, the motto of E pluribus unum is where this particular variety truly shines. All of the letters, including the two dots towards the top, are almost completely doubled towards the south. This feature is especially unmissable, and likely the first place that you will spot the doubling for this coin. In holding with the bold doubling on this coin, the market prices are similarly aggressive, and in 2020, a PCGS graded proof 68 example of this Franklin $half variety coin was sold at auction for $15,000. Subscribe to WNN and remember to activate notifications with the bell icon so you'll know when new videos are released. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching, stay safe, keep collecting, and have a fantastic day.